Again, y'all came through with lots of excellent questions. So in this video, we're going to sit and chat about the all natural makeup video, the apothecary tour, and the nasturtium video. I'm going to get me a nice cup of tea, so grab whatever you like and we'll get into the questions. Before we jump into the questions about the foundation, one of you asked about my Mullien tea recipe, and that's what I'm going to sip on today. I'll go into more depth about how I use it. I'm going to start with the questions from the natural makeup video. And one of the questions that was asked multiple times was, does the Araza foundation contain sunscreen? Technically not sunscreen. It contains a non-nano zinc oxide, and that is what you're going to find as the sun protection ingredient in almost any of your natural makeups, a truly clean natural makeup. If you are not aware of the issues with sunscreen in traditional sunscreens, I suggest you do a deep dive in that. For as far as I'm concerned, the non-nano zinc oxide in the foundation is enough protection for me, but that's something you'll have to choose on your own. I also had multiple requests of people saying that they would have liked to see me do more of a demonstration of the texture of the foundations. And I did film that, and I will put that in here in just a little bit. And several of you also asked that you'd like me to demonstrate how I use the foundation like I did with the oil cleansing video, and I will do that. I have plans to do that pretty soon. I ordered some more of the makeup. I ordered an eyebrow pencil. I love the eyebrow pencil. I like how it looks, how it goes on. I will not recommend this yet because when I went to sharpen it, it didn't go well. However, I think that was my sharpener. I'm going to order the pencil sharpener from Araza, and I'll let you know what I think after I try that. But I did not see any complaints in the comments, so I cannot imagine that that's an issue. It's probably just my sharpener. So I'll get back to you. So, now, another thing that I did order, I talked about how I did not like powders. Well, I was intrigued by this, and it is the natural clay finishing powder, and I think I like it. But again, I'm not going to say 100% that I like it because y'all know I'm a little apprehensive about recommending something because it's such a personal experience and we're all different. But I think I like this. And what it does is it knocks a little bit of the shine off, but it doesn't make everything look real cakey. However, I do it very, very light, and I'll definitely come back to this. Now, I hope this video doesn't go long, but we're going to get into the things that you all have asked about. But I find this fun, so I hope you do too. What else did you all ask? Some of you all have given some good tips. For instance, Cindy said, I always buy one of the lightest shade and one of the darker shade and then mix the shades to match her tone. That way, if I get a slight tan, I can adjust the color. I don't trust the color swatches online. I get it. And actually, that's what I used to do as well. However, it was my foundation that I sold in the salon. So, it was not that big a deal to have two different shades because I was not paying full price. Thanks, Cindy, because that is a really good tip, especially as the seasons change and our skin tone changes a little. And several of you asked about different brands and my opinions on them. And I haven't tried them. I looked at the ingredients and they have synthetic ingredients. There's a lot of makeups that claim to be natural. The labeling and the regulations are a little sketch. So just read the ingredients. Now, when it comes to the foundation, I have gone pretty hardcore natural. And one of you mentioned that. Jean, she said, I can't thank you enough for your searching and finding and all you do. I ordered the Araza products. I wanted to say, for those interested, so go read those comments. People leave a lot of good info in the comments. I did the research on the Araza and the product ingredients, and the brand came up so clean. Highly rated safe. As someone dealing with skin cancers on my face, this was a godsend find for me. Thank you. Thank you. In my search alone, I don't know that I ever would have found this brand. I love what you do for us. I've made my Frank oil, and I'm loving that too. And I already been oil cleansing for years. Even if I recommend something, you go read those ingredients for yourself, because some of them may have ingredients that don't agree with you. Oh, and that reminds me, there was another question that someone asked. This was a good one. Rose Baker asked, what are your thoughts on using fractionated coconut oil on the face? Curious, since the first ingredient of a Rosa's foundation is the fractionated coconut oil. So if you followed my videos on the oils that I do and do not recommend, this could be confusing for some, because I do not recommend coconut oil for the skin. But I was talking about regular coconut oil. I would not choose fractionated coconut oil to use regularly in my skincare routine. But as far as foundation goes, I don't have a problem with it. And here's low analogic is fractionated coconut oil is not pore clogging, and in a foundation, it is really hard to find something made with everything that I absolutely love to put on my face. So it's a makeup, it's not my skincare, and to me, it was a good option, and I have had no issues with it myself. So the ingredients in the Araza are pretty good, in my opinion. That was a very good question, because that was something I dragged my feet on a little bit before ordering the Araza. But it's not the same as like your coconut oil that you see for cooking with. It's better. Lisa said that's funny. She does the exact same thing. She only used lipstick as her blush and eyeshadow. See, I'm not the only one. I'm really enjoying the blush, and again, I use it for cheeks and eyeshadow. I also noticed several comments, and I'm not going to read them or put them up because it was from some of you that don't like how you look in makeup. And there was another comment where someone mentioned that they had body dysmorphia, and she had done so much to her face that she had, in her words, that she had ruined her skin, and she felt like she needed to use, I think she may have said, mortuary makeup. So I do want to say, I in no way want to make anybody feel like they are doing something wrong if they are not using a natural product. If you need to use something to cover up any scarring, or if there's some issue that you absolutely feel better because you're using something that has a really full coverage, I am in no way natural shaming anyone. If someone is dealing with something where they feel the need that they need a full coverage foundation, or something that gives them the confidence and helps with their self-esteem, but it's not a natural product, you do it. There's enough we have to deal with expectations about how we look, that we don't need that either. And that leads me to another comment that I loved. That comment was, thank you. As an older RN, I want clean things. For a few years, I have just quit wearing anything and letting my hair grow out. No more coloring. Used to love having my nails done. Now I know how toxic it all is. Beauty should be simple, but honestly, until we shift what we see as beauty, women will continue to fight an uphill battle to a degree. It takes huge courage to embrace yourself without what we used to believe as beautiful. But it's worth it, and I'm excited to try this. I placed an order, and if it can work, I will be able to enjoy makeup on my terms. Thank you for what you are doing. I loved that comment, and I wanted to talk about that, and that's a good example. I color my hair, and in 2020, with all that mess, I quit coloring my hair. I quit wearing deodorant. That did not work out. I can do some cookie things, but I let my hair grow out, and a lot of people didn't like it. And part of the fact that they didn't like it kind of made me dig my heels in and not color my hair. So when we went back to work after all that COVID mess, my roots had grown out like that long in them. Anyway, to make a long story short, I did decide that I felt better with my hair blonde. But anyway, my husband likes it blonde too, but he never said a word. When my hair is blonde, I feel good. And I used to get my nails done too. Now, I really miss getting my nails done, but I probably won't go back to that. So the way I approach this is that I do the best I can with as many things as I can. That's all we can do. And it feels really nice to finally be at that point where I'm just going to do me. A few more questions on the makeup, and then we'll move on to the apothecary and the herbs. Do you use under eye cream or balm for dry skin and wrinkles? I have very sensitive skin, and especially under the eyes, to solve the crepey and wrinkled skin. Your skin and hair are beautiful. Thank you so much. And that was Linda. Mainly, no, I use the oils, and I just use them around my eyes as well. But I have found with this foundation and this concealer, y'all, where this foundation and concealer is very creamy, and the ingredients that it has, it acts as a moisturizer around my eyes. So no, I don't use anything specific, and I am loving this concealer for me. And yeah, it's great. You all make me feel so good with your comments, and I do have crepiness around my eyes. I just have good lighting. I saw one more question that I thought you all would really like. This was a good one. Marta asked, she said, "Hi, love your channel. You said the foundation was creamy. Do you think it would work well with the oil cleansing and the tallow moisturizing routine?" Oh, and she says she uses the rose water and tallow, and that it has been a game changer to balance her skin needs. This was something that I'm so glad she asked this, because yes, I still use the oil cleansing. That doesn't leave your face oily. One thing I did notice, I did the frankincense scrub in the morning, and then I put on my foundation and went about my day. And I was sitting with my mom having lunch. I was talking about my makeup, and she was giving me an honest answer. And she was like, "It looks really oily." And I was like, "Oh man, so what's the deal?" Well, it did. And I kept thinking, why does it look like that? Because it doesn't look like that all the time. So I found that if I do the frankincense scrub and I leave it on as a mask, it really leaves everything really moist. So I probably need to save that for nighttime or a day that I'm not going to put makeup on right away. So also, my morning routine with this foundation, they say it acts as a skincare because of the ingredients. I just use my rose water and glycerin spray, let that settle a minute, then I use my foundation. I don't use any kind of oils on the mornings that I'm going to wear my foundation. So I'm so glad she asked that. If you're having any issues, it may be that. Just try not to use any of your oils or your tallow before you use the foundation. Yeah, that'd probably be a lot. Now let me show you real quick the texture of these. I actually did try to show the texture of the makeups in that foundation or that makeup video, but I had cut my finger right before I started filming, and I could not get that sucker to stop bleeding. So it was gross, and I didn't want to do that to you. So I refilmed it, and here it is. This is the Mango Cream Color Pot. This is what I use for my blush and my eyeshadow. And this shade is Rosy. This is another one of my favorite shades, same Mango Cream Color Pot, and this one is called Rested. This is the Mango Bronzed Balm, and the color is Flare, and this is what they consider their bronzer. And this is the lip gloss. It is the Coconut Color Glossy Balm, and this is the shade Sweet Pea. I also have another shade, and my mom took that, so I don't have that to show to you. And this is the Coconut Cream Foundation, and my shade is 300. Nice, thick, creamy. And again, I use a brush when I apply it. This is the Coconut Cream Concealer in the shade Light. And you can see it looks really light, but it's very sheer. And I just come in with this little brush, kind of blend it, and it just goes away. And it reflects light really well, and I like that. Now the apothecary tour video, that one was fun. Y'all had some good recommendations. So like I said, go check out those comments. Several of you asked about how I dry my herbs and wanted to see videos of harvesting the herbs. I have dandelion video coming up and the comfrey video coming up. Those are coming. And I will definitely do that. Now, how I dry the herbs is I have these plastic, they were shoe racks, and I have looked for them online because they are the best thing because the legs come off and I can stack them, and I can't find them. I looked for them on Amazon because I thought, hey, I thought everybody needs these. But anyway, I have metal racks, the seed starting racks, and those little plastic racks. I just lay everything out and let them air dry, and I have a little fan that I keep running. I also have used in the past the laundry racks, the wooden laundry racks, and I've tied them with string and just hung them on that. I do not like to put them in the dehydrator. First of all, I think that would take a lot more time. Now, if you're just dealing with small amounts, it wouldn't, but I don't. My dehydrators don't have a temperature setting on them, and I need a new dehydrator. But if you have a dehydrator that has a temperature setting, I don't know what that temperature setting is, but you really need to keep it low. So I don't even recommend that you dehydrate your herbs. They'll air dry, and I just give them a little fluff every now and then. You need good airflow so that they dry out and don't mildew. But yeah, I just lay them out to dry, and I don't recommend a dehydrator. Now, freeze dryer, that would be great. But again, that would be time consuming anyway. I just lay them out or hang them. One of you asked and recommended that I put in the description my tags and the twine and the little twine cutting thing. I forget to do that sometimes, but that does make things easier. You can just go click on it. The tags I don't have a link for because I got those at Hobby Lobby, but I did put those links in the description. And someone else also asked about herb books. I didn't put those in the description either, so I went back and put them in. But I have a few here I have a Rosemary Glad Stars. This is a great one. And then another one that I have is Body into Balance. And this one's fairly new to me, but I do like this one as well. Another one is the Green Pharmacy. It's got a lot of information in it. I also have a couple more that I'll list. I have one that herbs that are antiviral, herbs that are antibacterial. They have good information, but I will link all of that in the description so you can go check those out. One thing I do want to recommend, if you buy any books, go to some of the other herbalists that have YouTube channels. They'll have recommendations of books that they actually use. See what aligns with you. A lot of people have a lot of different viewpoints, especially in herbalism. I like the simpler, just information-based books. Also, another thing to look out for is I actually used to look up a lot of herbal information online. However, there is so much AI junk out there now that you really have to be careful. When you just Google something, it used to take you to links of studies or books or articles. Now, the first response you get, that is AI generated. I don't know if everyone is aware of that. I'm sure a lot of you are. It's herbs, and yeah. And beware, there's also some books out there that are just AI produced. Everything's just gotten so money driven. I miss simpler times. I'll get off that soapbox. Someone said that they used their jar sealer and that would help the dry goods stay good longer. And I don't know why I didn't think of that, because I seal up my dehydrated things with the jar sealer. Maybe I need to do that. Oh, someone asked what I did for my tinctures, and I wasn't sure if you meant the bottles or what alcohol, but I use 80 to 100 proof vodka for most things. I just do the folk method. There are techniques where they get very specific with the water to alcohol ratios, and that can be very important. But at this stage, I'm just doing the folk method. It's my home apothecary, and that's what's working for me at the moment. I'm actually thinking about taking an herbalism course in all my spare time. If she wasn't talking about what alcohol I use for my tinctures, I just use the mason jars. The Mullien recipe that I use at the moment, is the Mullien, a little bit of mint. I still have some lingering effects from the crud that I got Thanksgiving weekend. I'm fine. I've been fine, but there's just still a little something going on. I've been trying to be very diligent with a tea for my lungs. Mullien is an excellent herb for lung function and helping to get mucus and stuff up out of your lungs for lung support. Now, I do the mint because the Mullien tastes green. It's not bad at all. It just kind of tastes green. Just the mint and the Mullien is tasty on its own. And then I will add some chamomile because I find that it gives it a sweet flavor. Now, it's not sweet, but I don't drink sugar in my tea. I know. What kind of Southern girl am I? I don't drink sweet tea. You mainly get the taste of the things you add to it because it's a real mild flavor. And then you could add a little bit of honey or sweetener of your choice. So what I'll do is I will make it. I use about 4 heaping tablespoons into the French press. I steep it for about 15 minutes. Then I will press it and enjoy. And it's still warm at that time. And that way I can have 4 cups. If I have it already made, to just grab it and drink it throughout the day. I'll also drink this cold or iced, or just drink it to be getting it in me because I'm trying to take care of this situation. Now, there are still nutrients and goodies left in these herbs after the first infusion. They may be weaker constituents, but also from what I've read, some feel that you get some different constituents from doing like a longer infusion with that second brew. So I will take what's in there, put another 4 cups of boiling water in that, let that steep for the afternoon, and then I will stick it in the refrigerator and let that go overnight. And then I have more for the next day. And then I try to do the same thing every day. That way I'm getting about 4 to 6 cups of my lung support tea, and hopefully I'm getting all I can out of the herbs. But that's what I do. So what I would recommend is to start just say 1 cup of Mullien, about 1/4 a cup of mint to taste. You can personalize that, but that's what I'm doing. Moving on to the nasturtium video. That's just been up fairly recently, but you all are liking the nasturtium video. So let's take a look at the comments from that video. One question that was a great question. Cooley4831 asked, would you describe the flavor that the nasturtiums add to the dressing? So the flavor in the vinegar is not super distinct. It's not leaving a real peppery taste in the vinegar. So it's basically just a vinaigrette. The main thing for me was to extract the nutrients from the nasturtiums, and it makes it a pretty color. Now, eating them fresh on salads, that is distinct. And someone else mentioned a good way to describe it. I was describing it as peppery, is a little bit like horseradish. And yes, that is a very good description. So thank you. But not as hot as horseradish. And it's something that you could add more to or less of to a salad, like just the greens and the flowers too. They make for a really pretty garnish on a salad. One comment was, I once had a tree frog climb into the nasturtium flower for a nap. Saw its little bottom hanging out of the bloom. And of course I took a picture, but that was long before digital cameras and smartphones. So unfortunately it wasn't very good. Even still, it was the cutest thing I ever came across in my garden. And oh my gosh, I would have loved to have seen that. And yeah. And a lot of people have liked that comment. I bet that was stinking cute. A Season of Purpose said, I've grown nasturtiums before as a trap crop companion plant, and I've eaten the flowers right out of the garden, but I've never used them for anything else. I've actually got dozens of starts in my basement this spring, so this is perfect timing. I don't know if I mentioned in that video that they are a trap crop, and aphids really like the nasturtium plant, and I think flea beetles too, but I've never seen aphids on my nasturtiums, but I don't have a huge aphid problem. If aphids are a problem, the aphids will go to the nasturtium because that's what they find yummiest, and then they'll leave your other plants alone. But they act really well as a ground cover because they'll just grow along under your plants, and that helps suppress weeds in your garden. So that's great. And Jana, I think you asked if it was good for attracting Japanese beetles. I don't know. I've never heard of it used for attracting Japanese beetles, but if any of you have anything to add about nasturtiums from your garden, please leave those in the comments because I love it. We are talking to each other and learning things in the comments. Rosetta Ridge said, I grow my nasturtiums in cedar stumps and they do amazing. I bet that's pretty. I forgot to mention this, but pickled nasturtium seeds, young nasturtium seeds, not after they're dried. When you first, they will come up and they're big green. They look like big green little bubble butts, and they are kind of wrinkly and green, but you can pickle them. She says in a salt water vinegar brine, and they make a good caper substitute. And they're nice and crunchy bits in a salad. And I have seen that. I've never tried it, but hope to this year. Let's see. Nasturtium is like a weed in my garden. They self-seed. Yeah, if you live somewhere very warm, in some places they're almost a nuisance because winter doesn't die them off. At least here, we have to work at having them. If you get a winter freeze, they'll die. So, but now they probably would reseed themselves. Someone said that she loved that I used burnt near and a dollop because it made her think of her family. I didn't even realize I said burnt near till I was burnt near done editing. Burnt near means thereabouts or close enough, or probably close enough, close to it. Burnt near. I didn't tell you where I ordered the seeds. The trailing nasturtiums was, I believe, from Botanical Interests, and you can order those online. I order a lot of seeds from Botanical Interests, and another one I believe was from Southern Exposure. That is sold locally in a lot of our feed stores. Southern Exposure specializes in seeds from varieties that are known to grow in the southeast. They have some nice seeds and they have some really neat varieties. So if you're in the southeast, check out Southern Exposure online. There's also a variegated nasturtium and I think a vining one. And I had seeds last year. They must not have germinated, but I've planted every one of my nasturtiums and I hope everybody comes up because I have big plans for them this year. I need to order more. But yeah, Botanical Interests and Southern Exposure had good ones. But you can find them at Walmart, Lowe's, any garden center. It's a real common seed, but the trailing ones was Botanical Interests. Someone mentioned that they have the pale common aphids in their area, and they do find them on their nasturtiums, so they no longer cook with them. Yes, aphids are a pain. Even with a huge infestation, you can use like insecticidal soap. That's an organic. You could even just use a little bit of a good Castile soap in some water, mix it up and spray it on them. But also a good blast with the water hose will wash the aphids off. So unless they're just eating up your nasturtiums, I mean, there's bugs in the garden, but even if they have aphids, they just wash right off. But it wouldn't keep me from using them, especially in medicine. I mean, you wash them off and you're going to put them in alcohol. Ain't nothing living in that. So, well, I think that burnt near covers everything today. And if I didn't answer a question or you have any questions, just leave those in the comments. And I now have the books and some of that other stuff in the description. And I really thank y'all so much for hanging out with me. And here's a couple videos you might like. If you haven't seen them, check them out.